जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गुरु भक्तवृंद। जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गुरु भक्तवृंद। यस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपरिकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणं रघुनाथं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधं कृष्णपदां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी विशुभुवनसुते देवी प्रणमामि। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविसर्जिते श्रीमती नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य श्री गुरु। So we are reading Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are on Adi Lila, chapter 14, text 29. So remember, I is playing and his mother is feeding him sandesh. And what he's doing, he's eating dirt. So he said, oh, what's the difference between dirt and all this sandesh? So now we are going to get ready for philosophy. So all of us, we are ready. We discuss philosophy now. Anyway, Prabhupada made it very simple for us. Dehamati bhakshya dekha vichare avichare deha dosha kibrani pari. This body is a transformation of dirt. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether, right? And the eatables are also a transformation of dirt. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether, right? Please reflect upon this. You're blaming me without consideration. What can I say? Hmm? Purport. This is an explanation of the Mayavad philosophy, which takes everything to be one. The necessities of the body, namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, are all unnecessary in spiritual life. All right? In spiritual life, the necessities of the body. So what are the necessities of the body? You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to mate, and you defend. Mating because you reproduce. And defending because the body dies. So therefore, we have to take so many measures to prevent the body from dying. So these are the necessities of the body. And you have to eat because if you don't eat, then the body is not nourished. And we have to sleep because the body gets tired. It has to be, servicing has to happen. So that's why we sleep. So these are necessities of the body, but not necessarily in spiritual life. When one is elevated to the spiritual platform, there are no more bodily necessities. And in activities pertaining to the bodily necessities, there are no spiritual consideration. Yay. So when one is elevated to the spiritual platform, no more bodily necessities, as we just described. And when we are doing activities to the bodily necessity, there are no spiritual considerations. In other words, the more we eat, sleep, have sex, and try to defend ourselves, the more we engage in material activities. Definitely, Mayavadi philosophers consider devotional activities to be bodily activities. They cannot understand the simple explanation in the Bhagavad Gita. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Anyone who engages in spiritual devotional service without motivation, rendering such service for the satisfaction of the Lord, is elevated immediately to the spiritual platform, and all his activities are spiritual. Brahman, spiritual activities, although Mayavadi philosophers are very eager to merge into Brahman effulgence, they have no material activities. To a certain extent, they recommend Brahman activities, which for them means engagement in studying the Vedanta and Sankhya philosophies. But the interpretations are but dry speculation. Lacking the varieties of spiritual activity, they cannot stay for long on that platform of simply studying Vedanta or Sankhya philosophy. Okay, so these are statements. First introduction here is the statement about what is the body and what is the soul. What are the necessities of the body and what are the necessities of the soul? And the two are opposite. What is required for the body is not required for the soul. What is required for the soul doesn't involve the body. So the Mayavadi, they think the two are absolutely and completely separate. Whereas the devotee is saying that the body can be engaged in Krishna's service, provided that whatever we are doing it without motivation, and we want to do it only for Krishna. So the Mayavadis have a problem. From where we are, they have to jump into the non-existent, meaning the body doesn't exist. Everything is Brahman. So how do you jump? I mean, that's the main problem with all of us. Like if we are looking for some philosophy, we want to practice something, we don't know where do we jump. There is no meeting point. In Bhakti Yoga, there is a meeting point. You use your body in Krishna's service, and therefore you can jump to the spiritual platform. With the Mayavadis, body and spirit are absolutely different. So therefore, how do you take the jump from material to spiritual? So here Prabhupada is saying, what do? They engage in studying Vedanta and Sankhya philosophies. But after some time, what happened to them? They get old. Like all of us, if I tell you, my dear ladies, whole day you just sit and read philosophy books. Are you ready to do it? No. Restless. But these poor Mayavadis, that's the only thing they have to do. They have to sit and peep over their grammars, rack their brain to understand this grammar, that grammar, examine each Sanskrit word and interpret. They are fed up. Lacking the varieties of spiritual activity, they cannot stay for long on that platform of simply studying Vedanta or Sankhya philosophy. So what do? That's the misfortune for all of us. What do? Life is meant for varieties of enjoyment. The living entities by nature full of enjoying spirit are stated in the Vedanta Sutra. Anandamayo Vyasa, in devotional service, the activities are variegated and full of enjoyment. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.3, all devotional activities are easy to perform. Susukham kartum and are eternal and spiritual avyayam. Since Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand this, they take it for granted that a devotee's activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Sparanam, Pada Sevanam, etc., are all material and are therefore Maya. They also consider Krishna's advent in this universe and his activities to be Maya. Therefore, they consider everything Maya. Therefore, because they consider everything Maya, they are known as Mayavadis. So this is the second point that's being put forward. Here, Prabhupada is going to contrast and explain what is Mayavad philosophy, what is Vaishnava philosophy. So first thing he's saying that there is no point of contact between the material and the spiritual in Mayavad philosophy. Whereas in devotional service, there is a point of contact, meaning you engage your body, everything in Krishna's service, and then it gets transformed and becomes spiritualized. And now the Mayavadi, they think that no, whatever the devotees are doing, this is all material. We are saying this is spiritual. They say no, it's material. And not only that, they say who we are worshipping. So when he advanced Janmashtami, so who we are worshipping Krishna, he's Maya, his descent is Maya, his activities in Maya. Therefore, they got this title, Mayavadis. Actually, any activities performed favorably for the satisfaction of the Lord under the direction of the spiritual master are spiritual. Right? Actually, any activities performed favorably for the satisfaction of the Lord under the direction of the spiritual master are spiritual. But for a person to disregard the order of the spiritual master and act by concoction, accepting his nonsensical activities to be spiritual is Maya. One must achieve the favor of the Supreme Person Godhead through the mercy of the spiritual master. Therefore, one must first please the spiritual master. And if he is pleased, then we should understand that the Supreme Personal Godhead is also pleased. But if the spiritual master is displeased by our action, they are not spiritual. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur accompanied this. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada yasya prasada nagati kudoti. Activity that please the spiritual master must be considered spiritual and they should be accepted as satisfying to the Lord. Now the next point is that, okay, so the Mayavadi is saying that Krishna's activities are Maya, or whatever practices the devotees are doing, this is also Maya. And then here comes one point in the philosophy of the Bhakta. The point here, Prabhupada is saying that the disciple, the practitioner of bhakti must do activities under the direction and the order of the spiritual master. And if he doesn't do this, then his activity, even though seemingly look like it's spiritual, it is simply Maya. I can even build a temple, right? I can run a temple, but if I don't do it according to the direction of the spiritual master, then that building and running a temple is Maya. All right? It has to be done exactly as prescribed, because I actually read somewhere, somebody asked, how can you make a big, a nice business? Tell me, it was just maybe on that thing, called Koda, you know. So how can I make, what is a good source of income? So one person wrote, he says, you open a temple, right? Amazing. Just like right now, Vrindavan, now Govardhan, all these areas, they're supremely lucrative business for businessmen. It's being advertised everywhere. Everywhere is being advertised. You want to a sure source of business that will never fail. It will not fail because Vrindavan is frequented by the lakh and lakh and lakh, and it will not stop. So you're sure, 100% sure if you invest. People are going to hell, right? So externally, it may look like it's a temple, that we are running a temple, but we are actually making a business, right? Or we are doing yatra, right? We are doing yatra, but actually we are not doing yatra. We are doing tourism, and we are making money from people, right? So therefore, there is zero spiritual benefit. It is simply maya. This is what Prabhupada is saying in this paragraph. Prabhupada says, if we act by concoction, accepting his nonsensical activities with spiritual is maya. Okay? So it's such a fine line, spiritual and material. They look exactly same, but we should be able to detect what is real. This illusion is such a thing that if you are a fool, you will get fooled. So if you don't study Prabhupada's books, then what will happen? We won't be able to detect, like all this AI story, AI now, AI, like, I got fooled, somebody put up something, and lucky somebody was more, less gullible than me, and ask, is this real? Is it dream? What is it? Right? They showed something, right? Oh my God. And I, all devotional, so-called ready to accept. Then we found out it was made up. It was AI made up. They took reality. This is the worst thing. This is the worst thing. They took something real, right? They took something real. They took the whole background of it as real, and then they put it in their imagination. They put the two together. So you're not able to distinguish between what is real and what is false. Very, very dangerous, this AI. It's an illusion. Amrita, let me complete this. I can't lose my, my trend. It's quite tough for me to read this. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Spiritual Master, instructed his mother about the Mayavad philosophy by saying that the body is dirt and each table is also dirt. He implied that everything is Maya. This is Mayavad philosophy. The philosophy of the Mayavadi is effective because it maintains that everything is Maya, but everything is Maya, but the nonsense they speak. All right. While saying that everything is Maya, the Mayavadi philosopher loses the opportunity of devotional service. And therefore his life is doomed. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore advised Mayavadi Bhasya Shunile Hai Sarvanash. If one accepts the Mayavad philosophy, his advancement is doomed forever. Because, as I'm saying, this Mayavad, it looks so real. This AI takes the real and put in the unreal. And even though the intelligence might say, no, maybe it's something different, but because we are so-called devotional and submissive, therefore, I mean, just see how it is like Putana, exactly like Putana, I would say that AI, exactly like Putana. Anyway, we'll find in our, all this Krishna Lila, which demon it is, right? Maybe Trinavarta also. Amrita, you're telling your child stories, right? So find out which demon it is that represent all this AI. So you have to be extremely careful. You say, a double-edged sword, right? Meaning that you can use a sword to cut a knot, karma bandhan, right? But you can use the same sword and cut off your spiritual life, right? If we accept Mayavad philosophy, his advancement is doomed forever. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, he's telling us in so much detail about this Mayavad philosophy. Okay, Amrita Radhe. Yes, that was your...
Mataji, regarding the example that you gave, that someone may open a temple but with a different motivation and hence it would not be devotional service. So, in that connection, I wanted to ask, so that means we may be reading Prabhupada's books, but instead of wanting to do it as a service and wanting to please Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, we might be using Prabhupada's books to manipulate people, use them, or propagate our own ideas. Is that possible?
100%. This is what, yes, 100%. Therefore, we must be very cautious, extremely cautious. You know how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when some scholar came to him with their, commentary or whatever, he will ask Swarup Damodar to go through it carefully and check whether the philosophy is proper. And then, like Prabhupada keep on saying, Bhagavad Gita is very famous. I take Bhagavad Gita and I write my own book. I twist everything and I say, Krishna is a good politician. And I say, Krishna is a good businessman, etc. Isn't it? I have no intention to serve Krishna. It's just a very good handbook to persuade people. Maybe I gave you the example of, how these people, they build, shopping malls and they make it in the form of a church. So people think here's a church, right? Because you bow down to churches, right? As soon as you see a church, right, you offer whatever, right? So people think here's a church, so they're attracted subconsciously, unconsciously, they're attracted by the image of the church. When actually it is simply luring them to spend money, right? This is, yeah.
So, Mataji, my final question is, so if we want to be spiritually successful, that means if we want Krishna, then we have to constantly check our motivation and do our services with good intention and put our heart into it. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah, and Prabhupada is saying that any activities performed favorably for the satisfaction then under the direction of the spiritualists. Under the direction of the spiritualists. Right? So we have to constantly check whether what I'm doing, whether it is, proper direction. Right? And anyway, the point is that however, we can bewilder people in this world. Finally, there is the light of Krishna, right? That will shine and make everything, or the illusion will go, like when they fight, right, in Ramayana, Mahabharata, everywhere, right? All this demon, they put out some illusion. Dhruva Maharaj, the Yakshas, they put out some illusion, right? Then with his Vishnu mantra, all illusion disappeared. So it is only a temporary gain. Whoever may do this, it's a temporary gain. But here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is warning. Say that Mayavad philosophy is so attractive. If we fall for it, all right? If we fall for it, Sarvanash, his life is doomed forever. So if you just sit and listen to them, it's so attractive, the ear like to hear something, especially the ears like to hear that you are God, right? I'm God, you are God, everybody's God. So okay, we are all God. This sounds very nice, right? To the ears. Then you're pacified, no? You're actually pacified. It's okay, we are all God at the end of the day. So good. So you buy that philosophy. When I say, surrender, sarva dharmam parityajamam ekam, right? Ekam. Only to me, Krishna, right? What? Him? Ekam. This is so difficult to accept, right? Meaning everything I have to do for him. For him, right? Whereas with Mayavad, it's okay. We all one, like that classless society, right? Classless society in communism, classless society. So similarly, we want classless society in the spiritual Brahman, right? No, you and me, we are all one. Finish. Yes, Indira Ram.
Talking about motivation, right? Every day we cook food for ourselves. We say we cook it to please Krishna, right? Sometimes we want to eat this, eat that, and then we say, okay, we are just pleasing Krishna. So how do you separate that motivation behind our own gratification and, pleasing Krishna?
And in the beginning, it's like that. In the beginning, it's like that, isn't it? And then gradually you find, because you see, that's why we are moving from the material to the spiritual, right? We are stuck in the material. So step number one, offer my food or whatever it is to Krishna. I do it consistently. And we become attached to Krishna. Then we start thinking that I'm not going to eat without offering to Krishna. Like I cannot think of eating without offering to Krishna. So we have already graduated, right, to this point. I may still cook what I like, what I need. I cook what I need. It's not very tasty, but still when I put the salt, I say, Radharani, please make sure that Krishna likes it, right? I want to make sure that it's properly cooked. It's not undercooked. I don't want to burn anything, right? Like I will take little precautions, right? And then when I eat, I say, oh my God,
Thank you.
I forgot to put salt in the dal. I don't know how Krishna ate this, right? So it's one step.
True. Yeah.
Rashmi?
That's the point. Thank you.
Mataji, Mataji, Hare Krishna. This example which you gave about where we were talking about rendering service only for the satisfaction of the Lord. So, Mataji, we see in the Western world that devotees distribute books, and I didn't see that in Bombay. Here, some devotees I see when they distribute the books, they will keep some of the money for themselves, and and then some of the money will go to the temple. So the reason when I asked why they do that, I was told that they earn their livelihood with that money. So is that
Yes.
so?
Yes.
That, that
So authorized, right?
so that is also business only, no, Mataji?
That is authorized. Yes, some devotees, they maintain their life instead of doing other things, right? Where are you? It's switched. Yeah. So meaning that they have made an arrangement with whoever is giving them the books, right? Yeah. Yes. Even Prabhupada, when he brought his Bhagavatam to the West, right? His 3-volume Bhagavatam, how was he maintaining himself? He was distributing the books and maintaining himself, right? That's how he maintained himself. So Prabhupada said, yes, you take the book, and you take the book, and you distribute, and some amount you keep. So there is some arrangement. So meaning that they have to give so much. They're taking the books, they have to give so much to the temple, wherever they're taking, and then some amount, yes, they maintain themselves. And
Okay.
they have chosen to distribute books rather than something else. And how much do you get from books? You don't become millionaire by distributing books.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Mataji, here it says that, devotional service should be without motivation. Now, there is so much variety of devotional service. Suppose, Mataji, I fancy singing more than cooking. There is my motivation, right? That I feel more happy doing that, or I like doing that more than cooking. So is that, not pure devotional service?
Sing nicely to Krishna, right? See, in spiritual life, there is variety. And I'm still a person. We are not impersonal. I'm still a person. And I have my choices, like what I like to do. But it doesn't mean that if somebody is required to cook the bhoga offering and you want to sit in the temple and sing, then this is not devotional service. If your service is required in the kitchen, there's nobody to cook. Krishna's hungry, right? You can sing while you're cooking. It's not an issue, right? Like you say, I want to sit in the temple and show off my voice, and I'm going to let Krishna hungry, then that is, whimsical. But to have a liking for something more than something else is natural. You just read here, life is meant for varieties of enjoyment, right? If everybody was a cook and there were no singers, how would you feel?
So I can choose to do the service which I enjoy to do also.
Of course, like, we speak of book distribution, right? Book distribution, some devotee, that's their life. Book distribution, it's their life. And they prefer to do this over other things, right? And others don't want to do book distribution. I think it's too humiliating. You have to meet people, they say no, so many things, so hard and nasty, right? Whereas others know this is what they like because they have experience, rasa of giving out the books.
So, Mataji, what I understand is that there can be a huge set of devotional services. Some are we must do, right, as a part of it, and some in which we get rasa, we should do also that.
Of course,
Yes.
you are not miserable. Nobody wants to be miserable doing devotional service. We just read here. Shishukam Kartum, where was that? Somewhere, right? Yeah, 9.2. All devotional service are easy to perform. Susukam Kartum. Like, me speaking, I like to cook. I'm not a cook, but I like to cook. You know, wasting your time cooking, but I like to cook. Sit and read books. I like to do so many things. Let's continue. Next 30. Okay. Rashmi, you want to read text 30?
Yes, Mataji. Text 30. Antare vismita sachi balila tahare mati khaite jnana yoga ke sikhala tore. Astonished that the child was speaking Mayavad philosophy, Mother Sachi replied, "Who has taught you this philosophical speculation that justifies eating dirt?" In the philosophical discourse between the mother and the son, when the son said that everything is one, as impersonalists say, the mother replied, "If everything is one, why do people in general not eat dirt but eat the food grains produced from the dirt?" Text 31. माटीरा विकार अन्न खाइले देह पुष्टि है माटी खाइले रोग है देह या क्षय. Replying to the Mayavad idea of the child philosopher, Mother Sachi said, "My dear boy, if we eat earth transformed into grains, our body is nourished and it becomes strong. But if we eat dirt in its crude state, the body becomes diseased instead of nourished, and thus it is destroyed."
Yes. Okay, now this is simple logic. So we already said that the Mayavad philosophy is most impractical. Most impractical. Because it cannot take the jump from material to spiritual. Whereas with devotional service, with the Vaishnava philosophy, we are able to move from matter spiritual platform. Whereas with them, because they are seeing the spiritual platform and material platform are absolutely completely opposite, there is no meeting point. So let's read this now. Matira vikara hatte pani bhari ani mati pinde dhari abe shoshi yai pani. In a water pot, which is a transformation of dirt, I can bring water very easily. But if I poured water on a lump of dirt, the lump would soak up the water and my labor would be useless. All right, so Mother Sachi, we say women are less intelligent, right? And here Mother Sachi is speaking such philosophy that we'll have to rack our brain. Prabhupada will make us understand what Mother Sachi is teaching. And she's a simple housewife. So everybody's happy, right? The housewife is teaching Mayavad philosophy. Therefore, this simple philosophy propounded by Sachimata, even though she's a woman, there you are, can defeat the Mayavadi philosophies which speculate on oneness. You know, the sannyasi, they're not going to entertain any woman, right? Unless you are a man. That's one important point in the philosophy. Unless you're a man, and what to speak of a man, you have to be brahmachari and you have to be a sannyasi. Then you can sit down and study Vedanta. Otherwise, just sit at home and do your own work at home. But here, Mother Sachi is defeating the Mayavadi sannyasi philosophers. What is he saying? What is she saying? The defect of Mayavad philosophy that it does not accept the variety that is useful for practical purposes. We are convinced about this. We've spent immediately, questions started shooting from everywhere because we're all worried, I like this, I won't do it. Right? So many questions and the varieties, right? Immediately you can see the soul is pumping, right? The soul wants to make sure that it's not stifled. It doesn't just, I have to be in this, there is a hole here and I have to fit in here. Everybody has to fit in that hole only, right? And you will emerge on the other side in Brahman, right? So that's why people become atheists. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said that because of this Mayavad philosophy, people went straight into sense gratification. Because while you're living, better enjoy. Because when you become liberated, there's no enjoyment, right? So enjoy as much as you can, and in your old age, then you can become a Mayavadi and go to the hole, right? The defect in Mayavad philosophy that it doesn't accept the variety that is useful, all right, for practical purposes. So it's a science how to turn matter into spirit. It's a science. And only the Guru Parampara from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in our modern times, only that Parampara knows how to transform matter into spirit, your ordinary cooking into prasadam. Sachi Mata gave the example that all an earthen pot and a lump of dirt are basic. An earthen pot and a lump of dirt are basically one. For practical purposes, the water pot is useful, whereas a lump of dirt is useless. Sometimes scientists argue that matter and spirit are one, with no difference between them. Factually, in a higher sense, there is no difference between matter and spirit. But one should have the practical knowledge that matter, being an inferior state of existence, is useless for our spiritual blissful life, whereas spirit, being a finer state, is full of bliss. So I said, transforming matter into spirit. Why are we able to transform matter into spirit? Because in a higher sense, everything is actually spirit, Brahman. All right? But that Brahman has two aspects. It has the material inferior aspect, meaning the Bahiranga Shakti, and there is the Antaranga Shakti. External energy and internal energy. So that material energy can be transformed into Antaranga Shakti. Finally, nobody saying finally. So if we are only going to be stuck, actually in a higher sense, there is no difference between matter and spirit. But one should have the practical knowledge that matter, being an inferior state of existence, is useless for spiritual blissful life. Whereas spirit, being a finer state, is full of bliss. Matter, what you cooked, all right, what you cooked. Spiritual scientists, okay? You bring milk, all right? Milk is liquid. It is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, right? Milk. Sugar. I'm breaking it down into its components, all right? Sugar, which comes from sugarcane, all right? You can say that that milk came from grass. It got transformed in the body of the cow and it came out as a liquid that you call milk, right? Grass is coming from earth, water, fire, and ether. What I'm going to its source. But it went to the body of the cow. It came out as milk. It went through the whole story called the blood. Blood got transformed and then it became milk, which you drink. It is earth, water, fire, and ether. All right, I'm speaking like the scientist. Then we take the sugar. Where did the sugar come from? See, variety, they look different. Milk is looking different from sugar. Sugar, where does sugar come from? It's coming from a grass, right? Just like the milk came from grass, similarly, the sugar came from the grass. Sugar cane, right? We have a cane, it's a grass, right? You press it, you do so many stuff with it, you squeeze it, whereas, the cow, she ate the grass and it went through her body and, it became blood, it became liquid, white liquid, which you drink. Now, same grass also, it has a different component by the grace of material nature. Grass is again growing, it has a taste that we call sweet. Yeah, basic composition is same. So the scientist is saying it's all one, which is correct. Earth, water, fire, ether. Are you able to follow this? Milk and sugar? Are you able to follow this? This is what the scientist is saying. Sometimes scientists argue that matter and spirit are one, with no difference between them. Actually, in a higher sense, there is no difference between matter and spirit. So, I've just shown you that the variety that you're seeing, milk and sugar, right? Source is same, earth, water, fire, and ether. But when they interact, they look different. Once they come out, they look different. There's a variety, and when you mix them, it's nectar, right? But actually, in composition, it's all one. It's all one. Now, the scientists, they are saying that this matter and spirit, they are one. Now, I don't know these scientists, what they know about spirit. I don't know what they know. Are they speaking of life? Are they speaking that the body is living organism? And therefore, the body and the living being is one? I don't know what they're talking about. So Prabhupada is saying, yes, in a higher sense, there is no difference between your body and yourself, matter and spirit. But everybody knows that if you only stay in your body, it's miserable. But if you know your spirit soul, you can taste higher things. Okay, let's move on and see. In this connection, the Bhagavatam gives the example that dirt and fire are practically one and the same. From the earth grows trees, and from their wood come fire and smoke. Nevertheless, for heat, we can utilize the fire, but not the earth, smoke, or wood. Therefore, for the ultimate realization of the goal of life, we are concerned with the fire of the spirit, not the dull wood or earth of matter. So Prabhupada is giving another example. I gave the example of milk and sugar. So we came down and we saw how it's all earth, water, fire, and ether, right? But I'm not going to enjoy, well, some people do enjoy milk without sugar, right? But if you have sweet rice, then you're going to not enjoy your mixture of milk and rice without putting some sugar in it, right? So variety is the mother enjoyment. Let's read this again. In this connection, the Bhagavatam gives the example that dirt and fire are practically one and the same, dirt. Now, from the earth grows trees, and from there wood come fire and smoke. So the tree is producing fire and smoke. And where is it coming from? This fire and smoke, it is coming from where?
Earth.
From earth. It's coming from earth. Now, from where we get the heat? From the earth? From where we get the heat? From
The
the
wood.
earth? From the wood, right?
From
You're
the
not
wood.
going to get heat from the earth, right? You say, okay, let me remove the heat from the earth. You will sit and go on like doing your experiment, removing, heat from the earth. Nothing happened. But the earth has given birth to the trees. And that tree will give you firewood, which you're going to produce heat. Therefore, for the ultimate realization of life, we are concerned with the fire of the spirit, meaning you want to know the origin, and not the dull wood or earth of matter. So here, if you want to know finally, what do you want to know? You want to know about the spirit. You want to know the spirit. You don't want to know about matter. Right? Your goal of planting a tree is to get firewood, to get heat, right? If you're planting the trees so that you can get heat, so you can cook, you can warm yourself. Essentially, what you want is the heat. So when we're examining this world of matter and spirit, you want the essence. What is the essence? You want the spirit, because you know matter is of no use. You want to follow this? Anyway, don't worry if you don't follow. Don't worry. Says, so long as you don't become Mayavadis, because if you will sit and listen to the Mayavadis, 100% they will, push you, drag you, allure you on their side. Okay, text 33. Atma कहते प्रभु बलीला
ताहारे आगे केनो इहा माता नाशिकले मोरे.
Actually, I'm reading myself because it's easier for me to explain. The Lord replied to his mother, why did you conceal self-realization by not teaching me this practical philosophy in the beginning? Purport. If from the beginning of life one is taught the Vaishnava philosophy of duality or variety, the monistic philosophy will not bother him very much. Just see. Just see. In reality, everything is an emanation from the Supreme Source, Janmari Asya Yataha. The original energy is exhibited in varieties exactly as the sunshine. The original energy emanated from the sun, exhibited itself in varieties, light and heat. One cannot say that light is heat or that heat is light, yet one cannot separate one from the other. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is Achintya Bheda Bheda, inconceivable non-separation and distinction. Although there is an affinity between the two physical manifestations, light and heat, there is also a difference between them. Similarly, although the whole cosmic manifestation is the Lord's energy, the energy is nonetheless exhibited in varieties of manifestations. So first point what Prabhupada is saying. If you are already a devotee, if you are Vaishnava, for you in your mind, there is no question that Krishna doesn't exist, that you are a servant of Krishna, that you should serve Krishna. Even if you hear Mayavad philosophy, you won't pay attention to it. But the problem is that if you are a Mayavadi, all right? If you are a Mayavadi, you brought up in that philosophy. Now, to put it into your head, that there is Krishna has a form. Krishna's form is that Maya. To get that out of the head, it's a big botheration. And reconciliation. Here's the reconciliation that actually everything is spirit. Everything is spirit, Brahman, but it is manifested differently. It is manifested in a material way in the material world, and it is manifested in a different way in the spiritual world. So therefore, when we say that matter is non-different from spirit, it is true, and at the same time it is different. Achintya bheda bheda tattva. If I say your body is yourself, is it true or false?
So in one sense,
In one sense, okay. And in another sense,
it is different.
is it different? Yeah, correct. Simple. Isn't it? When you were born, right? A stamp was put on you. This is my name, right? And I call by that name, you're going to answer, right? Is that name you or not? Is that name you or not? Anupama Mishra. Or you that name or you not that name?
One sense, yes.
Hmm?
We are
Are
not
you
the body. We are not the name that we were given.
Yeah, no, I'm
We're
just
soul.
okay. Anupama, okay. When you're born, you're given a name, or you that name, or you not that name.
Not that name.
You're not that name. You're sure you're not that name.
No.
Anupama. Yeah?
No, for in up to a level, yes.
Sorry, I call Anupama. You say immediately. You say it's me. For me, I'm seeing a soul in front of me, right?
Yes.
I'm seeing somebody in front of me. I'm not looking somewhere else and say Anupama Mishra, right? I'm looking at you and you responded. Who responded? Who responded? Philosophy here, practical. Who responded?
The name.
Oh my God, the name
The
You
eternal
responded.
spirit soul. The
is
eternal
written.
spirit soul.
Because of the
It's written there. If I look only at the name Anupama Mishra, did the name respond to me? Who responded? Who responded, my dear?
I responded.
You responded. Correct. Okay. When we know too much philosophy, then we get confused, right? So the body is the self, all right? And at the same time, the body which we are seeing, because it is temporary, is not the self. This is the whole confusion that's happening in philosophy. This is the major confusion. Okay, all right. 1 minute left, 2 minutes left. Who wanted to say something? Okay, Shania, what you wanted to say?
I don't have anything to say. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Okay,
That
yeah,
was
Amrita
nice.
Radhe, what you want to say?
Mataji, so basically, Achintya Bhed Abheda Tattva philosophy of Lord Chaitanya is both practical and can offer us spiritual perfection. So, from the example that you gave about the sugar and milk, so they are both energy of Krishna. So, that's the commonality between them, the abhed between them. But the difference is that they are different manifestations of Krishna's energy. So, that's the difference between them. So they are both simultaneously same by being the energy of Krishna, but at the same time they are different because they are manifesting differently. Is that correct understanding, Mataji?
Yes, and when you mix all those differences, it becomes rasa, right? It produces bliss.
The variegatedness of the manifestation produces such a,
Right?
yes, the bliss. Yes.
Sugar and milk, right?
Like
Mishri.
Like Krishna. Which Krishna?
Hmm?
Baby Krishna. Like Krishna. Which Krishna? Baby Krishna? The one in Dwarka? The one in Mathura? Where? Which one? That's the
Mm.
divide. Yeah, that's the right.
Mataji, this Achintya Bheda. So, if we are saying they are different but one, so so like for example, we cannot make Sita Devi stand next to Vishnu. For saying next to Vishnu, Lakshmi ji is only there, and next to Ramchandra, Sita Devi is only there. So how we can say, how we can apply
No,
this?
no. We are speaking Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. We are speaking of matter and spirit.
We're not talking about.
All right. This is applicable only in this
Yes.
Okay.
spirit. All right.
Okay, Mataji.
Even in ordinary life, you're not going to mix up the husband and wife, right? Because it's
Yeah.
all the woman is all woman, all man. Is it okay? You know, I mean, I did that one time. Sorry, on a magazine was printing. Oh my God, I was printing a souvenir magazine. It was all the donors, whatever it was. I mixed up the husband and wives.
Oh.
Yeah, I
My
no,
God.
who was donors were there. He was having a heart attack. Was having a heart attack. You know how you duplicate, by mistake. Run each, how 1,000 of copies of magazine has been printed. Reprint. Has
That is
no
crazy.
better.
Yeah.
Logical. Whereas with this Mayavadi, everything is one. Your wife is mine, I'm your wife. Right? It's all one, right? Hippies will like that philosophy very much, right? Just see again, I spoke at hippie, right? They exchange wives. But it came to a point where they didn't want to exchange wives, right? Why? Because the soul is greater, right? Separate. It's not all one. No communal wife or communal husband. Doesn't work, right? So not practical. So even philosophically, so it was like that was a philosophy, the hippie philosophy, right? It was okay, but when it came to a point, the philosophy collapsed, right? So similarly, this Mayavad philosophy collapsed. Like you just said, we can't take Sita Devi and put her next to Narayan, right? Even though they're same. You will have to show her personality as Lakshmi. Amazing, right? It's amazing.
Although from the same energy, but the transformation is a different form altogether. So that has, so then there is the difference.
Oh, you
But
take
if it is
maybe
coming
put
from the
next to Ramchandra, Balaram next to Radharani, right? Right? So it's very specific, extremely specific, right? Not all one. Otherwise, all our philosophy will go out of the window, right? Yeah, my God, Rashmi, everybody. See, you're asking questions to challenge the Mayavadis, right? Isn't it? You ask questions to challenge the Mayavadi. So the Mayavadi won't be able to answer. Yeah, it's all one, right? And lucky we had no Prabhupada in notes, varieties. Because of the understanding of Maya of varieties, we are able to explain the world and the practical workings of the world, relationships, right? Between inert matter and the soul and among souls. All right, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.